So I've done it twice, and the process of that happening the first time is very different from how it happens the second time. So I'll give you a flavor of both. The first time it was mostly Priyanka and myself. I think you know Priyanka, my co-founder from Oxford Caps.
Yeah.
We've been friends for over 20 years now. We went to same architecture school, very similar career trajectory. Priyanka and I, we basically met over Christmas of 2016, and we were both kind of bored of our day jobs, wanted to do a lot more. We were both growing at a very fast pace in our career, and both in real estate. So we started talking, and one thing led to another, and we just kind of ended up in student housing. So it was more spontaneous, and I would say, kind of just a peripheral understanding of what's happening in the market, as opposed to a very thoughtful, derivative sort of process. In the second go, I think you're way smarter, because you know what kind of road bumps, roadblocks you'll kind of face growing a company. So it's you're smarter, but that's not necessarily always the best thing. It slows you down in kind of taking a final call on what you want to do. But having said that, in the second, at the time when I was ideating Accacia, yeah, it was definitely more derivative. I had the idea, and then I invested some time into researching how you could build a scalable business around it. Invested a lot of time in that, but it was definitely more thoughtful and derivative the second time around.
So when you said more smarter, could you specify that bit? Like I'm sure there is a bit of naivety when you start first,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and many times that is a strength. Okay,
yeah.
because you think you can achieve everything, and you do not have the curse of knowledge. So could you explain why you think the second time? So what does it take to build something for the second time as a second company?
Yeah, so see, the first time when you're doing it, you're coming just out of your corporate job. And typically, when you are in any corporate, you are a functional expert, right? Specifically, we were working in a specific industry. I was doing investments, asset management. Priyanka was doing transactions. So we were functional experts. We kind of knew a lot about real estate as an industry, but we had never built something ground up, right? So you don't know exactly what a 0 to 1 versus 1 to 100 and then 100 to 1,000 journey kind of looks like, right? Once you have done it, like in our case, we had kind of built a company from 0 to almost 200 employees and 0 to $20 million in revenue. So you had almost done like a 0 to 10, and then a 10 to 100 in terms of life of company, right? So you know what kind of roadblocks would be there, what things you need to think about, what would be this good things about this business model versus what would be the challenges. So your mind kind of works a little differently. You are now thinking about that space as a business and not just as an opportunity to capture, right? Secondly, when we started out first time, we were also very new to raising venture capital, because we were traditionally coming from industries that were more private equity, family office sort of backed industries, right? So we understood the PE investing model, but VC is a very different domain. So now you also know if you have to build a business that is to be built through VC capital versus something that you need to bootstrap, like what are these different business models, what works in one area versus what doesn't. So there's a lot that you know that you didn't know before. So you are definitely smarter about it. But I would say from a technical perspective, sustainability, carbon emissions, decarbonization perspective, there was still a lot that was unknown. So I think second time around it was best of both worlds for me, because there's some things that you know, some that you don't know. So yeah.
So was your priority the size of the problem second time? The What was the priority for you when you decided to pick on Acacia as an industry, as a problem that you wanted to solve?
I think couple of things. Number one, definitely, I wanted to build in a space which was really forward looking.
Hmm.
So while it may not kind of be the pressing need for each and every industry player today, but you're getting there, right? So when you're building businesses, you either build something where you're first to market, or the market is already established and you are the second and third one,
Right.
second or third one, right? So definitely wanted to be more in the first category as
Got it.
opposed to being in the second one. But there are challenges, the pros and cons of both.
Right.
But personally, I would have preferred to be in the first category. So, and because I wanted to do something in real estate, sustainability kind of seemed that area which was really, really forward looking, and especially decarbonization. A lot has been spoken about sustainability in general. And secondly, I think how scalable can the business can be, right? So, what is that model that can really help you scale up for you to get to like a 300, 400, $500 million revenue mark in next 5 to 7 years is basically the crux of building it.